हेलो दोस्तों, बिजनेस पॉइंट में आपका स्वागत है। और अभी हम कर रहे हैं इकोनॉमिक्स। ठीक है, इससे पहले की वीडियो नहीं देखी है तो फिर आप जाकर देख सकते हैं, प्लेलिस्ट बना रखी है। अब इससे आगे करते हैं। सम ऑफ द फैक्टर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर लैंड डिग्रेडेशन आर लॉस ऑफ vegetation occurring due to deforestation, unsustainable fuel wood and fodder extraction, shifting cultivation, encroachment into forest lands, forest fires and overgrazing, non-adoption of adequate soil conservation measures, improper crop rotation, indiscriminate use of agrochemicals such as fertilizers and pesticides, improper planning and management of irrigation systems, extraction of groundwater in the competing uses of land for forestry. अच्छा, यहाँ से in excess of the recharge capacity. Ninth, open access resource. And 12th to 11th, 12th, poverty of the agriculture dependent people. India supports approximately 70% of the world's human and 20% of livestock population on a mere 2.5% of the world's geographical area. The high density of population and livestock the con- and the competing uses competing uses of land for forestry, agriculture, pastures, human settlements, and industries exert an enormous pressure on the country's finite land resources. एक यहाँ पे वर्ड आया है एनरोमस, मतलब कि विशाल. The per capita forest land in the country is only 0.06 hectare against the requirement of 0.47 hectare to meet basic needs, resulting in an excess filling about 15 million cubic meter forests over the permissible limit. Estimates of soil erosion show that soil is being eroded at a rate of 5.3 billion tons a year for the entire country, as a result of which the country loses 0.8 million tons of nitrogen, 1.8 million tons of phosphorus, and 26.3 million tons of potassium every year. According to the Government of India, the quantity of nutrients lost due to erosion each year ranges from 5.8 to 8.4 million tons. Pollution Control Board. In order to address two major environmental concerns in India, with water and air pollution, the government set up the Central Pollution Control Board (CPCB) in 1974. This was followed by states establishing their own state-level boards to address all the environmental concerns. They investigate, collect, and disseminate information relating to water, air and land pollution, lay down standards for sewage, trade effluent, and emissions. These boards provide technical assistance to governments in promoting cleanliness of streams and wells by prevention, control, and abatement of water pollution, and improve the quality of air to prevent, यानी कि रोकना, control or abate air pollution in the country. These boards also carry out and sponsor investigation and research relating to problems of water and air pollution, and for their prevention, control, or abatement. They organize through mass in media a comprehensive mass awareness program for the same. The PCBs prepare manuals, codes, and guidelines relating to treatment and disposal of sewage and trade effluents. They assess the air quality through regulation of industries. In fact, state boards, through their district level officials, periodically inspect every industry under their jurisdiction to assess the adequacy of treatment measures provided to treat the effluent and gaseous emissions. It also provides background air quality data needed for industrial setting and town planning. The pollution control boards collect, collate, and disseminate technical and statistical data Relating to water pollution, they monitored the quality of water in 125 rivers, including the tributaries, wells, lakes, creeks, ponds, tanks, drains, and canals. Visit a nearby factory, irrigation department, and collect the details of measures that they adopt to control water and air pollution. You might be seeing advertisements in newspapers, radio, and television on or billboards in your locality on awareness programs relating to water and air pollution. Collect a few news clipping, templates, and other information and discuss them in the class. In India, air pollution is widespread in urban areas where vehicles are the major contributors, and in a few other areas which have a high concentration of industries and thermal power plants. Vehicular emissions are of particular concern since these are ground level sources and thus have the maximum impact on the general population. The number of motor vehicles has increased from about 3 lakh in 1951 to 35 crore in 2022. During this year, two-wheeled vehicles and cars constituted about 85% of the total number of registered vehicles, thus contribute significantly to total air pollution loaded. India is one of the 10 most industrialized nations of the world, but this status has brought with it unwanted and unanticipated conscious consequences such as unplanned urbanization, pollution, and the risk of accidents. The CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, has identified 17 categories of industries, large and medium scale, as significantly polluting. The above points highlight the challenges to India's environment. The various measures adopted by the Ministry of Environment and the central and state pollution control boards may not yield reward unless we consciously adopt a path of sustainable development. The concern for future generations alone can make development last forever. Development to enhance our current living styles without concern for posterity will deplete resources and degrade environment at a pace that is bound to result in both environmental and economic crisis. Sustainable development, environment and economy are interdependent and need each other. Hence, development that ignores its repercussions on the environment will destroy the environment that sustain life forms. What is needed in is sustainable development that will follow all future generations to have a potential average quality of life that is at least as high as that which is being enjoyed by the current generations. The concept of sustainable development was emphasized by the United Nations Council on Environment and Development (UNCED), which defined it as development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. Read the definition again. You will notice that the term need and the phrase future generations in the definition are the catchphrases. The uses of the concept needs in the definition is linked to disruption of resources. The seminal report, Our Common Future, that gave the above definition explained sustainable development has a meeting the basic needs of all and extending to all the opportunity to satisfy their aspiration for a better life. बेटर लाइफ के लिए क्या क्या करना, बेसिक नीड्स सबकी पूरी होनी चाहिए और अपॉर्चुनिटी सबको मिलनी चाहिए. Meeting the needs of all requires redistributing resources and it hence a moral issues. Edward Barber defined sustainable development. ये कौन है? एडवर्ड बार्बर ने क्या कहा था, डिफाइन करा था, डेफिनेशन दी थी सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की, हैज़ वन विच इज़ डायरेक्टली कंसर्न विद इंक्रीजिंग द मटेरियल स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग of the poor at the grassroots level. This can be quantitatively measured in terms of increased income, real income, educational services, health care, sanitation, water supply, etc. In more specific terms, sustainable development aims at decreasing the absolute poverty of the poor by providing lasting and secure livelihoods that minimize resource depletion, environmental degradation, cultural disruption, and social instability. Sustainable development is, in this sense, a development that meets the basic needs of all, particularly the poor majority, for employment, food, energy, water, housing, and ensure growth of agriculture, manufacturing, power, and service to meet these needs. The Brundtland Commission emphasizes on protecting the future generation. This is in line with the argument of the environmentalists who emphasize that we have a moral obligation to hand over the planet Earth in good order to the future generation. This is, the present generation should be bequeath a better environment to the future generation. At least we should leave to the next generation a stock of quality of life, assets no less than what we have inherited. The present generation can promote development that enhance the natural and built environment in ways that are compatible compatible with conservation of natural assets, preservation of the regenerative capacity of the world's natural ecological system, avoiding the imposition of added costs or risks on future generations. According to Herman Dille, a leading environmental economist, to achieve sustainable development, the following needs to be done: limiting the human population to a level within the carrying capacity of the environment. The carrying capacity of the environment is like a plimsoll line of the ship, which is its load limit mark. क्या है, एक तरीके की लिमिट करता है ये. In the absence of the plimsoll line for the economy, human scale grows beyond the carrying capacity of the earth and deviates deviates भटकना from sustainable development. Technological progress should be input efficient and not input consuming. Renewable resources should be extract on a sustainable basis. That is, rate of extraction should not exceed rate of regeneration. For non-renewable resources, rate of depletion should not exceed the rate of creation of renewable substitutes, and inefficiencies arising from pollution should be corrected. In 2015, the UN formulated 17 Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) intended to be achieved by the year 2030. Collect the details of those goals and discuss them in the context of India. Strategies for sustainable development. Use of non-conventional sources of energy. India, as you know, is hugely dependent on thermal and hydropower plants to meet its power needs. Both of these have adverse environmental impacts. Thermal power plants emit large quantities of carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. It also produces fly ash, which, if not used properly, can cause pollution of water bodies, land, and other components of the environment. Hydroelectric projects inundate forests and interfere with the natural flow of water in catchment areas and the river basins. Wind power and solar rays are good examples of conventional sources of energy. In recent years, some efforts are being taken to tap these energy resources. Collect the details of one such unit set up in your area, if any, and discuss in the class. LPG, gobar gas in rural areas. Households in rural areas generally use wood, dung cake, मतलब कि गोबर, or other biomass as a fuel. This practice has several adverse implications like deforestation, reduction in green cover, wastage of cattle dung, and air pollution. To rectify the situation, subsidized LPG is being provided. In addition, gobar gas plants are being provided through easy loans and subsidy. As far as liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) is concerned, it is a clean fuel. It reduces household pollution to a large extent. Also, energy wastage is minimized. For the Gobar gas plant to function, cattle dung is fed to the plant and gas is produced, which is used as fuel. The slurry which is left over is a very good organic fertilizer and soil conditioner. CNG in urban areas. In Delhi, the use of compressed natural gas (CNG) as fuel in public transport system has significantly lowered air pollution and the air has become cleaner. In the last few years, many other Indian cities also began to use CNG. Wind power. In areas where speed of wind is usually high, windmills can provide electricity without any adverse impact on the environment. Wind turbines move with the wind and electricity is generated. No doubt the initial cost is high, but the benefits are such that the high cost gets easily absorbed. Solar power through photovoltaic cells. India is naturally endowed with a large quantity of solar energy in the form of sunlight. सोलर लाइट सोलर सेल की वजह से जो लाइट जनरेट होती है वो सोलर एनर्जी वी यूज इट इन डिफरेंट वेज फॉर एग्जांपल वी ड्राई आवर क्लोथ्स grains other agricultural products as well as various items made for daily use. We also use sunlight to warm ourselves in winter. Plants use solar energy to perform photosynthesis. Now, with the help of photovoltaic cells, solar energy can be converted into electricity. These cells use a special kind of materials to capture solar energy and then convert the energy into electricity. This technology is extremely useful for remote areas and for places where supply of power through grid or power lines is either not possible or proves very costly. This technique is also totally free from pollution. In recent years, India is taking efforts to increase the power generation through solar. India is also leading an international body called International Solar Alliance. Many hydel plants in mountainous regions, streams can found almost everywhere. A large percentage of such streams are perennial. Mini hydel plants use the energy of such streams to move small turbines. The turbines generate electricity which can be used locally. Such power plants are more or less environment friendly as they do not change the land use pattern in areas where they are located. They generate enough power to meet local demands. This means that they can also do away with the need for large scale transmission towers and cables and avoid transmission loss. Traditional knowledge and practices. Traditionally, Indian people have been close to their environment. They have been more a component of their environment and not its controller. If we look back at our agriculture system, healthcare system, housing, transport, etc., we find that all part practices have been environment friendly. Only recently have we drifted away from the traditional systems and caused large scale damage to the environment and also our rural heritage. Now it is time to go back. One at example is in healthcare. India is very much privileged to have about 15,000 species of plants which have medicinal properties. About 8,000 of these are in regular use in various systems of treatment, including the folk tradition. With the sudden onslaught हमला करना मतलब of the Western system of treatment. We ignored our traditional systems such as Ayurveda, Unani, Tibetan folk systems. These healthcare systems are in great demand again for treating chronic health problems. Nowadays, every cosmetic produce, hair oil, toothpaste, body lotion, face cream, and whatnot is herbal in composition. Not only are these products environment friendly, they are relatively free from side effects. and do not involve large-scale industrial and chemical processing. Biocompose composting. In our quest to increase agricultural production during the last 5 decades or so, we almost totally neglected the use of compost and completely switched over to chemical fertilizers. The result is that large tracts of productive land have been adversely affected. Water bodies, including groundwater system, have suffered due to chemical contamination, and demand for irrigation has been going up year after year. Farmers in large numbers all over the country have again started using compost made from organic wastes of different types. In certain parts of the country, cattle are maintained only because they produce dung, which is an important fertilizer and soil conditioner. Earthworms can convert organic matter into compost faster than the normal composting process. This process is now being widely used. Indirectly, the civic authorities are benefited too, as they have to dispose reduced quantity of waste. Biopest control. With the advent of Green Revolution, the entire country entered into a frenzy to use more and more chemical pesticides for higher yield. Soon, the adverse impacts began to show. Food products were contaminated, soil, water bodies, and even groundwater were polluted with pesticides. Even milk, meat, and fishes were found to be contaminated. To meet this challenge, efforts are on to bring in better methods of pest control. One such step is the use of pesticides based on plant products. Neem trees are proving proving to be quite useful. Several types of pest controlling chemicals have been isolated from neem, and these are being used. Mixed cropping and growing different crops in consecutive years on the same land have also helped farmers. In addition, awareness is spreading about various animals and birds which help in controlling pests. For example, snakes are one of the prime group of animals which prey upon rats, mice, and various other pests. Similarly, large varieties of birds, for example, owls and peacocks, prey upon vermin and pests. If these are allowed to dwell around the agricultural areas, they can clear large varieties of pests, including insects. Lizards are also important in this regard. We need to know their value and save them. Sustainable development has become a catchphrase today. It is indeed a paradigm shift in development thinking. Through it has been interpreted in a number of in ways. Adherence to this path ensures lasting development and non-declining welfare for all. Conclusion: economic development, which aimed at increasing the production of goods and services to meet the needs of a rising population, puts greater pressure on the environment. In the initial stages of development, the demand for environmental resources was less than that of supply. Now the world is faced with increased demand for environmental resources, but their supply is limited due to overuse and misuse. Sustainable development aims at promoting the kind of development that minimizes environmental problems and meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. और इसके बाद ये आ जाता है रिकैप. Environmental performs four functions: supplies resources, assimilate wastes, sustain life by providing genetic and biodiversity, and provides aesthetic services. Population explosion, affluent consumption, and production have placed a huge stress on the environment. Developmental activities in India have put immense pressure on its finite natural resources, besides creating impact on human health and well-being. The threat to India's environment is of two dimensions: threat of poverty-induced environmental degradation and the threat of pollution from effluents and a rapidly growing industrial sector. Through the government, through various measures, attempts to safeguard the environment it is used. It is also necessary to adopt a path of sustainable development. Sustainable development is development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. Promotion of natural resources conservation, preserving regenerative capacity of ecological system, and avoiding the imposition of environmental risks on फ्यूचर जनरेशंस वुड लीड टू सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट। और इसके साथ ये चैप्टर हो जाता है आपका समाप्त। अब मिलेंगे चैप्टर में।